So this is how we create actions. We define a bunch of constants, and then we define action creators that use these constants. Now we have a problem in this implementation. Do you see that? Every action creator returns an object with this structure. This is where we can use Redux Toolkit to simplify our code. Let me show you. So on the top, we import create action from Redux Toolkit. Now, before we change any of our code, let's study this function in isolation. So we call create action, give it an argument like bug updated, then store the result in this constant, and let's log it on the console to see what we get. So we get a function called bug updated. What happens if we call this function? Well, let's take a look. So save the changes. We got an action object. So this action object has two properties, type, which is set to bug updated, and payload, which is undefined. Now, what if we pass an argument here? Let's say 1. See what happened? Payload became 1. What if we pass an object? Let's say an object with the ID property set to 1. Now, the payload property is an object. So what this function returns is really an action creator, not an action. So it could be called create action creator, but as you can see, this name is way too long. That is why it's called create action. So let's rename this constant to bug updated. This is a regular action creator, just like the action creators that we manually created by hand. But compare these two approaches. We have replaced all these lines of code with a single line. That is the beauty of Redux Toolkit. Now, with this approach, we no longer have to define these constants because this is the only place where we define the type of an action. So if you want to get the type somewhere else, let's say in our reducer, we can easily get it from this action creator. So in JavaScript, functions are objects. So they have properties just like other objects. So this function or this object has a type property that returns the type of this action. Let me show you. So save, back in the console, we got bug updated. We can also get the type by calling the toString method. This also returns bug updated. Beautiful. So now let's refactor this code and use create action. I'm going to delete these two lines. We no longer need these constants. Let's redefine the bug added function. So here we call create action bug added. Similarly, we're going to refactor bug resolved, create action bug resolved. Beautiful. Only 2 lines of code. Now in our reducer, we're going to replace this constant with bug added, the type. Because we're defining the actions and the reducer in the same module, we don't have to import anything. So our code is cleaner. Next, we're going to replace bug removed. We don't have an action for this, so let's duplicate this line and rename bug resolved to bug removed. Good. So back to the reducer. We're going to replace this constant with bug removed, the type. And finally, this one with bug resolved, the type. Better. Now, we need to go to our index.js and make a small change. So earlier we created this function by hand. And in that function, we wrapped this argument inside an object with a property called description. With this refactoring that we just did, the value that we pass here will end up as the value of the payload property. In this case, we don't want our payload to be a string. We want it to be an object with a description property. So let's wrap this with an object with a description property. Now we need to make the same change. If we don't make this change, our reducer is not going to work properly because in our reducer, we extract the description from the payload object. Okay. So one more time. And by the way, let me show you a quick trick. We can select this text and type a left brace, and this automatically adds the right brace. This is much faster than manually adding the left brace and then going to the other side to add the right brace. So in VS Code, you can select anything and wrap it with braces or parentheses or whatever you want. Okay. So here's an object. We set the description property. Now, by the same token, we need to wrap this number with an object with the ID property, okay? Save the changes. So everything is working like before. And here's the state of our application.